Hello and welcome back to the Thoughtful Spot. I'm Brian.
And I'm Tammy.
Thanks for listening and glad to have you back this week. Speaking of glad to have you back, we are going to be moving off of the Miles from Main Street feed and moving on to our own, which we've been on. So if you're looking for us out there, you'll find us on any of your favorite podcast apps. So please find us over there and also find somebody to share the show with and let them know that you're enjoying the show. We're going to be talking some news about Disney World, and we will also be covering some money-saving tips for your next trip with your family. So stay tuned for that. Tammy, how's your week been?
Pretty busy, but good. For the most part, we've had some family medical issues going on, so...
Yeah, but everything's working out there, so I think it's going to be all right.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So I think we're ready for Christmas.
We have a few little odds and ends to do, but mostly ready, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to some relaxation and some family time and just getting to celebrate the season.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to definitely have a white Christmas.
Yes, we are. We have a lot of snow that's going to be coming down over the next 3 days.
Supposedly, yes.
So, as always in Wisconsin, you never know what's going to happen until it does. So we'll see how it goes. They're calling for anywhere from 6 inches to a foot. So,
Yep.
All right, let's get into this Disney news. The Boardwalk Bakery was announced a while back that it was going to be closing, and it did. And last month, they had announced that it was going to be replaced by the Cake Bake Shop by Gwendolyn Rogers. This is a small, independently owned shop from Indiana, and she's going to be opening in Disney World at the Boardwalk Hotel, which I think is pretty awesome for an independent shop owner.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so they will be opening in the spring, I believe is what I saw. And they are also going to be opening next to it a Carousel coffee shop. And this is going to be another Joffrey's location. And one of the items that they put on their sample menu is a dark cherry mocha frozen blended coffee. Sign me up.
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
I think that sounds wonderful.
Some of the pictures that have been coming out of the treats, too, look really cool, so...
Yeah, this is definitely a place I want to go check out.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been interested in visiting the Boardwalk. I don't think you're as high on it as I am, but...
They've got that creepy clown. I don't know.
The clown's gone.
That's right. I don't know. It seemed too snooty for me. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not a huge fan of the Grand Floridian for the same reason. It's just not... It's not how I like to do Disney.
I can understand that. I do enjoy it. I think there's some great things. The street performers are fun that they have out on the boardwalk at night. I believe they've brought them back at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind walking around the actual boardwalk outside. I just don't like that hotel very much.
It's the chairs in the lobby, isn't it? The creepy
chairs, yeah.
Okay. So look for those items, those shops opening soon. The full menu is supposed to be coming out in a few weeks for those places. And if you want to know more about the Cake Bake Shop, they do have their website out there. They have some artist renderings that is out there of what the Cake Bake Shop's going to look like at Boardwalk. And I think that it looks really cool, and I definitely will be making a trip over there to check it out.
I'll come with you.
I would hope so. You're always a fun date.
So speaking of new things opening, they announced that the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue will be opening in spring of 2023 in Toy Story Land. I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for it, too. This is something that's been a long time coming. It got a little delayed because of COVID, but I think that's very exciting to have this coming along.
No, I'm interested to see once we go back there which one I like better, because I really like Woody's Lunchbox. So we'll have to compare, I guess.
Yeah, and this is more of a sit-down place, which I think
right.
Hollywood Studios is starving for
Yes,
another
definitely.
sit-down place. So it'll be great to have that. If you go to the Disney Parks blog, you can find some pictures there of the dining room a little bit. You'll see that they are doing the same idea like they do with the rest of Toy Story Land, where Andy's built this and it's part of his backyard.
Yeah, the theming looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of like when you're walking through the queues for the ride with like the big, I don't know, just the big oversized things, and looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, looking at the pictures, I wasn't sure if the pictures were coming from the queue for Toy Story Mania or if it was actually from the new restaurant. And I think that's just a continuity type of thing. They're doing a good job of keeping things all the same and within the same theme.
Right. And that land is one of my favorite lands for theming. Like, I think it's done very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's done very well. I think it's a lot of fun to be in. Having the characters back, and the Green Army Men band has been back walking around a little bit too. So that really helps. I really like that it's kind of livened up the place again.
In fact, last time we went, I feel like we never really got out of there. Like, we got into Star Wars Land or Galaxy's Edge a little bit, but we kept ending back up in Toy Story Land. I felt
we
like
did. Yeah, it was a lot of bouncing back and forth between those two lands, wasn't it? Oh well, I mean, that's fun. So a little bit of sad news to pass along. Stephen Twitch Boss. He was the host of Disney Fairy Tale Weddings. He was the DJ on Ellen DeGeneres' show, and a dance instructor. I think he was on.
He was on So You Think You Can Dance. Yeah.
Yeah. He passed away this past week, and it really hit the industry pretty hard.
Yeah, he was kind of everywhere. Like, they did Fairy Tale Weddings, but I'm pretty sure he hosted some other like nights and things for Disney too every once in a while.
Yeah, I remember seeing him on something earlier this year from Disneyland. I wish I could remember what that was, but I felt like he was really an up and coming talent, and I always enjoyed watching him. So our condolences go out to his family and his kids and all of his fans. That's a really sad one.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you that you never know what somebody's going through. Even though they look like they're okay, they may not be. So be kind to everyone and check in on people.
Check in, and if you are struggling, reach out and let someone know that you could use some help. It would be really good. I will put the suicide hotline into the show notes just in case you are looking for some help. So moving on to Disney Plus, I saw this note that they did Encanto live on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, and it was with the original cast from the movie. And it is going to be coming to Disney Plus on December 28th. I am super excited for this.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. I love the music from Encanto.
I do too. They said there would be a special appearance by Lin-Manuel, but more importantly, like the whole original cast is there doing this live. I think it's going to be so much fun to watch. I can't wait to see it.
Me too. So, Brian, Christmas is coming up soon here.
It sure is.
Okay, so 2 things I have to say about that. One is that we have to watch the parade on Christmas morning.
Absolutely.
Usually we sit around in our pajamas. The kids open their presents from Santa. We have that on. Usually you're paying attention to it more than anyone else is, but we all enjoy having it on.
Well, I get a shot of Mickey and Minnie. Maybe Goofy shows up. There's some performances. I get to see the castles. They do show a little bit of an actual parade once in a while.
Yeah, and if you guys watched the show that comes out on Thanksgiving or right around Thanksgiving.
It was the Sunday after.
Yeah, it has a lot of the same performers because I think they record both at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that Chloe Flower perform again. She was the pianist that was really interesting. I enjoyed watching her. So
yeah,
make sure you check that out. I believe it starts at 9 a.m. Central Time, so calculate that out based on where you are. But yeah, I look forward to it every Christmas. It's a nice way to spend the morning and drinking my coffee after all the presents are open, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. So the other thing is I got to watch the best Christmas movie ever this week all by myself, and I'll probably watch it again. And I dare you to argue with me. But the best Disney Christmas movie is, well, the best Christmas movie, even that's not Disney, in my opinion, is Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
So there you go. Shots fired. Let her know if what your favorite Christmas movie is and why it's Emmett Otter's.
It's classic. You can see the strings on the puppets, which I think is really cool. I love the music from it. The characters are funny. It just has everything.
And the movie just celebrated an anniversary not too long ago, and they put out some behind the scenes and some kind of documentary stuff that discusses kind of the advances that they made by doing that movie. So, some of the Muppet movies and shows that we have nowadays may not have gotten there without Emmett Otter's. But beyond that, Paul Williams is a great songwriter, and the music he's got in there is just awesome. It's terrific. So definitely go check out Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas if you haven't.
Yeah, please let us know, because a lot of times when people ask me and I say it's my favorite Christmas movie, most people, even if they are Disney lovers, still have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a great Jim Henson classic. Your kids are going to love it, and there's so many little details in there that just make it hilarious. Don't put a hole in the wash tub.
Mm-hmm. I'm not hungry. I'm hungry.
So a little behind the scenes, Tammy and I have been talking about, as we get into this show and how we want it to evolve, trying to figure out where we're going. And if you go look at the podcast description, it says talking about current events while providing tips for your family vacation. And so that's, as we've been doing the news and talking about different news items, we've been trying to inflect that into our conversations, how this can affect your trip, especially with a family, because we've made multiple trips with our family, with our kids at different ages, and I feel like we have something to contribute in that area. So back to the behind the scenes part, I went to Tammy and I said, you're in charge of coming up with maybe a segment or a piece that we can spend talking about some tips. And she said, all I want to talk about is Christmas movies and why Emmett Otter's is the best. So being the nice husband I am, I obliged, and we hit on Emmett Otter a little bit. But more importantly, money-saving tips for a family trip. Everybody's on a budget, more so today than they have been for a while. It's become more important. So I thought we could cover a few ideas on what we do to save money and what we've learned from other people to save money. Disney is not a cheap trip.
No, it definitely isn't.
And any way you can save some money or do it a little bit cheaper, I think it's worth it. A lot of people will say, how do you do that? How do you guys make the trip? It's so expensive. And I'll say, it is. But it doesn't have to be as expensive as you might think. It is. It's expensive. And, we did an episode with Miles from Main Street where we covered a few different things. So anyway, let's get into this money-saving tips and how you might be able to do it a little bit cheaper.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we like to do is bring in our own snacks. You can bring in anything you want, really, for food. We've never brought in a whole meal, but I have heard that people will do that. Like, they'll sit out on the hub and have a picnic, lunch, or whatever. We just don't get there often enough that we want to go to the restaurants and get the snacks at Disney. But you still want to definitely bring your own snacks in with you, because when you're waiting in line, your kids are going to get hungry. And one thing that I've found, because I'm usually the one that packs that kind of stuff, is be careful what you're packing, because the first time we went, like, I just packed things that I would pack around here, like granola bars, and they melted all over the kids' hands. And I packed like crackers that got all squished in our backpack. So two things that we found that I like to pack are nuts. If your family likes any kind of peanuts or cashews or pistachios, those travel really well. Fruit snacks do really well. And also beef jerky or like beef sticks are also a really good thing to grab to bring.
Yeah, I have seen plenty of people in line eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because they just bring their lunch along with them. The rule at Disney is that you can bring in whatever you want as long as you're not rolling cooler roller guy. I think that's how it works from that old commercial. But you can definitely bring it in. You have a soft cooler that might fit a 6-pack, and you can fit lunch for the 4 of you, 5 of you, 6 of you in there. Do it. Definitely do it. It'll save you a meal worth. That could be $150 right there.
Yeah, definitely.
So along with bringing your own lunch is bringing your own water. Now, I've seen people say that they bring a jug of water that they keep in the bottom of their stroller. I prefer it to be colder than that. I mean, Florida days get hot, and getting water that's the same temperature as me is not necessarily refreshing. And the ice that you're going to get for free from the stands is not going to be able to cool that down. But they have been adding more water fountains along the way that you can fill up a water bottle. I definitely recommend getting the Brita filtered water bottle and bringing those with you. For the 5 of us, I brought 2. We would get the free water. You can get free ice water from the from any of the stands that have fountain soda, and I would put the ice into those and then cool it down. Then I get the water out of the fountains, and it worked well for us. A family of 5, we were able to share the 2. If you guys aren't into sharing as a family, sharing water bottles, you're probably going to spend $20 a bottle on those Brita ones, but maybe you can find one that's not so expensive.
Yeah, and if you have, I don't know if our family's just picky about their water or what, but none of us, except for, I think you would probably be okay drinking the Florida water, but none of the rest of us will drink it.
It's my cheap blood.
Yeah.
It is an acquired taste. So beyond having to go around all of those, Starbucks is very picky about their water, and they have it filtered. So you can get filtered water, and they usually have some sort of jug or water cooler thing sitting out where you can just get yourself some ice water without having to stand in the line or ask anybody for it. So if you're going past the Starbucks, make sure you drop in there. They'll have the cup sitting right there, and you can get yourself something to drink without having to have that water bottle. One of the tricks, though, is anytime we are ordering from somewhere, I always ask for a few cups of water, ice water, just so that we can have that extra hydration, which is so important in Florida.
Very, yes. And kind of along the same lines, another thing that we really like to do when we go to the sit-down restaurants especially is we don't all order a meal a lot of times, because your portion sizes are big enough, especially if you have smaller kids. You can, so like we're a family of 5, a lot of times we can get away with ordering 3 meals.
Yeah, our son is a growing boy, as they like to say, and so he might eat one on his own, but the rest of us have been able to split, especially adult meals. And I've said this on the other show a lot. you and I went to Big River Grill, and they split a meatloaf meal for us, and it looked like they did not split it when they brought it.
Right.
So definitely, ask about the portion size if you're not sure. A place like California Grill, those portion sizes are probably going to be more for one person. But when you're out at Cosmic Rays or even some of the sit-downs that aren't, the burger and fries type of place, they're going to have big portions.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always work out. Like, for example, I'm thinking of when we got the rancho wraps and we thought, I don't remember how many we ordered. I think like if it was 3 and we thought, oh, that'll be plenty. Well, sometimes your kids are really going to like something and then your husband has to go back and order like 3 more.
And that's okay. I mean, definitely, like, especially with mobile order today, you can order something, try it out, and if you like it, you can order it and get it pretty quick again. So
right, yeah, but like I don't know if they're gonna end up bringing back the meal plans or not. We did do that one time when we went, and it was stupid for us. Like, we ended up with so much leftover food. And then you'd bring it back to the room and you'd never eat it because you were getting just as much food again the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember taking back, we each got full meals at the food court at Pop Century. And I remember bringing this giant container. Like, I didn't even know they made Chinese to-go containers that big. But I brought it back to the room with half the meal still in it. Never touched it again.
No. So that's why we're saying, like, definitely you can get away with splitting stuff, especially if you have any children under like 7.
Yeah, for sure. And along those lines, pack some Ziploc bags in your backpack or just in your room, wherever you think you might need them. We've gone to places where they give you a great big plate full of pastries, and we'll throw the extras into a Ziploc bag and take them back to the room for a snack if anyone needs a snack here or there. We will have them in the line during the day if someone's hungry.
Yep.
Make that food last as long as you can and save some money that way. I think the biggest spot to save is going to be with your food. So those are a few things you can do with that.
So if you saw our Instagram post today, one of our tips out there is to get your kids Disney gift cards before you go. So I think we started doing that 2 trips ago when we went.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yes. And somebody had offered that up as a tip to us, and we're like, oh, that's a really good idea. So yeah, if you get them a gift card before you go, 1, 2, however many. I mean, it kind of depends. Like, you can give them to them as gifts if they have a birthday or a holiday before you go. But that's what we've been doing. And whatever they have when we leave on their in gift cards, that's what they get to spend when we're there. Like, we'll usually say, we'll get you your ears, or we'll get you a magic band, or like we'll usually buy them one thing. And then the rest of what they want is on them. And especially with our older 2, it was really nice because they were very conscious of how much they had and what they wanted to spend it on.
They really were. That first trip that we did this, Jacob really wanted a Banshee, and it was one of the last things we were doing. And he would say he liked something, and we would say, okay, but that has to come out of your budget. Off of your gift card. And like Banshees were $80 and he wanted the perch, and I think we had given him $100 each, and we had to tell him that he's going to use up all the money he has on that Banshee. So does he want to give up part of that, of what he had planned there, to get this other thing? Most of the time he said, no, I'm just going to go and get my Banshee because that's what he was dead set on. He loved it, and he was so happy to have it when he did get it. So it worked out. But it really makes them think about what they're spending. It's not just budgeting your money, but it's also a lesson.
Yeah, and it's good for like you as parents too for budgeting, because you know each kid has this much, and that's a little bit less you have to worry about having while you're down there then.
Right. It really helps with controlling the spending and knowing that that part of the budget is taken care of. And, you just need to stick to it. It's just like when we've talked about the gift cards for the festivals. You can always add more, but at least you know when you're doing it and you have an idea of how much you're spending then. And also with those gift cards, I always worry about gift cards because it's hard to spend the entire balance. And you might end up with a partial balance at the end. If that's the case, like when you get back to your room, or even if you want to wait until you get home, you can take all of those gift cards with the partial balance, go on to DisneyGiftCard.com, put them in there, and then transfer all the balances to one so that you have a larger balance on one card and you can go and spend that. I believe Disney works with you, though, when you're there. If you have like a partial balance you want to use, they will make sure that gets spent first, and then you can pay the rest after that. But, this kind of makes it a little easier to go on DisneyGiftCard.com and go on there and just put all the balances together so you can just use up that little bit that might be left, because it's hard to go up to a register and say, hey, I've got 25 cents left on here. Can we use that up quick? But maybe you've got 6 cards that ends up adding up to $10. Now you've got something that's worth spending again, right? So for one last tip, one of the first trips we took with our kids, we learned about pin trading. And pin trading is extremely popular at Disney World, and I think even more so at Disneyland. I'll let you know in 43 days. But it can get expensive if you're not ready for it. Our kids on that first trip bought into it hook, line, and sinker. They wanted to trade for those pins like you wouldn't believe. And we ended up spending money on starter packs, which I think are now $30.
Yeah, they're really expensive. You get some really cool pins that way, though. But
Right, but you're buying a starter kit to pin trade, and you're getting pins that you probably don't want to get rid of.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah. And our kids, what we learned is that they just wanted to trade. They didn't necessarily want to keep the pin. Sometimes they just traded just for the sake of trading, and sometimes they traded because they did like the pin. Because I would see a pin that they traded for all of a sudden being traded again.
Yep.
And so people aren't going to like it when I say this, but you can go out to eBay and buy 50 packs of pins for maybe 50 cents a pin. And, so you're spending $20 to $25, maybe $30 on a whole bunch of pins. And you can spread those out. And the reason I say people might not like this, and I'm sure someone is out there yelling at me right now, but people will make what they call scrappers. And these are pins that are not genuine Disney pins. So here's the deal. The people that are going to get upset with these pins are the pin traders, not Disney cast members. They don't care. So if you're pin trading for fun, which most families like you and me, we're just out there to have some fun, and our kids just want to trade, no one cares. Disney's going to leave those pins that you've traded on those boards, and somebody else is going to get them. This is where the pin traders get upset, because they are going and trying to get some good pins off of those boards, and they're finding a lot of fakes. And it's like, well, find another pin trader to trade with. I know at Disneyland that there are a lot of people that actually do this and trade, and there's a guy that has a bench that he's got all of his stuff out all the time. And I'm interested to see what that is. I am very intimidated to go trading with these people because I'm afraid of what they're going to say to me about it. And I'm sure that they're very kind people and they know what they're looking for, and, blah, blah, blah on that. But We spent a ton of money on those pins that first trip.
Yeah, and I think it was somebody on the bus, one of the times we were on one of the buses, that told us about this trick. And I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying about people getting upset, but as a family who really just wants to trade just for the fun of trading, because like you said, our kids just enjoy sometimes, I think, scouting out where they can trade the pins too. Like they have fun trying to figure out where's a place they can do this, because it's not everywhere that you can.
Right. A lot of the places that you'll find to trade with are cast members in stores. You might find them at kiosks and things around the park too, but usually in the gift shops. And, this was exciting to them. We might be shopping and they'd say, okay, I want to trade. Or we might be passing one and they'll look in quick to see if they have a board there. They really enjoyed doing this, and it gave them something to do while mom and dad was doing something else.
Yeah. And this is definitely a cheaper way that you're actually going to be able to do it, because you can't, not a lot of people can afford to buy 3 starter packs to get 3 kids started.
Right. And you're only getting 5 or 6 pins in those starter packs. This way you give them 10 to 12 pins, maybe more, depending on how many you want to split out, for a pretty good price. And, then they've got plenty to trade with.
We do recommend buying the backs for them too. That I don't know what they're called, but we lost a lot of pins the first time because we didn't have the safety backs on them.
Yeah, so when we went down there the first time, they a lot of people said that they would have them have lanyards on. And I've seen this more so at Disneyland now than I have at Disney World. So just in case, whichever park you're going to, you can kind of pay attention to that. I've seen in the streams some of the pin traders go, oh, that person has a lanyard, maybe they want to trade. You aren't going to run into that as much at Disney World. But yeah, what we would do is we had a lanyard and we would put the pins on that lanyard and the kids would wear it around. But those black pins that Disney gives you on the backs of them, they won't, the black pin backs, they won't stay on all day. They'll get knocked off. So I've gone on to Amazon and I bought these really nice locking pins. Disney sells some that requires a tiny little Allen wrench to get on and off. They're a pain in the neck. Do not buy those. I have destroyed hats trying to get them off. So go and get these pin backs where all you have to do, they lock on, but a piece of it will pull away, and it is a little difficult to do, but that piece pulls away to unlock it, and you can then release it, and you won't lose your pins, and you will be able to trade them still and get them on and off quicker than needing a little tool to do it. So, or if you're at Disney World, like I said, these lanyards aren't used that much, so you don't need to do that. Or you could, finally, if you want to buy a book of some sort to put them in as well, that's another way to do it.
Yep, definitely.
So, as Tammy alluded to, if you guys want more family travel tips, come on out to our Instagram page, BNTS_Thoughtful Spot, with a period in between each letter of Thoughtful Spot. We are posting tips out there to help you guys save on your next trip. So I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
And a fantastic New Year as well.
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week at the Thoughtful Spot,
where any day spent with you
is our favorite day.